Hello, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Time for EDU 3510. This week we are reading about number operations from arithmetic to problem solving. So that is probably what the subject of your lesson should be over. Anything as far as, using arithmetic to solve problems, multiplication, division, any number operations, you should be comfortable. Video yourself teaching the lesson, 10 to 15 minutes long. Do not worry about the reflection part. Obviously, you're not teaching it in the classroom, so we're not going to have to worry about how that went. I want you to think about this recording and if there are ways for you to do better, but you'll see that in my comments. So today we are going over your questions of the week. And the first question comes from Alexa. So it says, in the reading, she explains a series of experiments that she conducted in order to fully grasp her lesson. Is it necessary to conduct such in-depth experiments for every lesson we teach? No. I like to teach in units. So I would set up I taught intervention math for 10 years. So what I set up is a lesson split over 5 days. Day one was my introduction. We would do some activating prior knowledge. Then we would dive into the meat of the lesson and do some guided experimentation, implementation of the processes and some guided practice. Day two, we're activating prior knowledge, a little bit of guided practice, some independent practice. Day three, activating prior knowledge, talking about what we did, a guided practice, a little bit of independent practice, come back together and discuss. Day four, that's when the kids are going to do their experiments and really start to dive into a subject and see if they understand the nuances of the operations or, the standards that we're trying to teach. It would be impossible for you guys to keep up this level of instruction every day for 7 periods for 183 days. That's unrealistic. That's how people burn out. So try to plan things over a week. Think about changing or differentiating the way that you teach every day. Try something different. Maybe one day you're doing group work. Maybe one day kids are doing a whole bunch of stuff online over the same topic, but it allows you to cover the topic multiple times in different ways so you're reaching all of your learners. That was a good question. Question number 2, what is the best way to find out how all students learn? How can differentiation best be implemented among all students? That's from Caitlin. So interest inventories, I did those all the time. We would do inventories about learning styles and observation, just getting to know your kids. Some kids may think they're hands-on and really not be. Some kids may think they're auditory learners because that's what their parents said, and they may not be. You're going to have to go through and learn your kids before you can differentiate completely effectively. But making the effort is all there is. Making the effort to differentiate for every kid that needs it, you're going to eventually find what works for them, and it's going to work out. So I would say that to implement differentiation among all of your students is to develop personal relationships with them. Know their strengths and weaknesses. Maybe this kid's not really good at organizing his ideas on a paper, so you give him some graph paper to do his math on. That's differentiation. It doesn't have to be this grand thing where you rewrite your whole lesson. A simple thing is having a kid that can't stand the feel of paper and you give him a whiteboard. That's differentiation. Have a kid that would rather watch videos on YouTube. Okay, so we're going to watch some videos on YouTube about how to do this. Maybe that works for you. Maybe you don't like the way that my voice sounds. Maybe it bothers you. You can get creative and just trying little different things. That's where differentiation comes from. Do you think that students who are discouraged with math Oh, sorry. So this is from Marissa, and it says, do you think that students who are discouraged in math because their previous teachers were simply covering the curriculum versus uncovering the curriculum? Okay, so this covering and uncovering the curriculum thing, um, I know what they mean, right? It's kind of like a new term for unpacking things. I don't like to look at it that way. I like to teach things in depth. I don't like to say, oh, I'm covering this. Oh, I'm uncovering this. I that doesn't really line up with my view of education. I feel like before you can uncover the curriculum, kids have to understand the mechanics. So maybe, like I talked about earlier, I'm planning a week, right? Day 1, we're learning mechanics. Day 2, we're putting them into practice. Day 3, we start uncovering the curriculum and using it in real world applications to further hammer home what we're working on. I think that there aren't going to be a lot of teachers that you've had that have worked on uncovering the curriculum, but I do think that there are a lot of teachers that teach things in depth, and I think that that's a little bit more beneficial to show you how you can use it, where you can use it, without getting caught up on this terminology. Do the action, don't worry about what you call it. Okay, let's get into your ABs. So ABs were good. It was a good first attempt. I have graded all of yours and I've posted them online with comments. One thing I'm noticing is you guys aren't doing a lot of showing. You're just telling me kind of that everything is good in this article and, oh, this is good, that is good, this is good, but I'm not getting the why. I don't really understand how you're going to use it in your classroom. So I've asked Dr. Jones to kind of put a little video together about show, don't tell. And hopefully hearing it from an English background will make a little bit more sense than a guy that has a special education and math background. So here's Dr. Jones.
Hey guys, I hope you are well and safe. I just wanted to reach out to you because Professor Cooper told me that y'all are struggling with show not tell and maybe finding your voice with your writing, and that's something that we've had to work a lot on through our undergrad and master's and doctorate's degrees. So basically with your annotated bibliographies, what you want to do is take the journal article or the study or whatever it is that you're reading, and then instead of saying and telling us this idea is good, such and such idea is good because I like it, that's just telling us. Show us and then like analyze it and then apply it to how you would use it in your classroom. Okay, now granted, some of you might not teach math, and that's fine, but you can take some of the principles and some of the instructional methods and things that are talked about in the journal article or the study, and then talk about how you're going to apply those in your classrooms. Tell us why the idea was good. Tell us how you will apply it to your classroom. Do some analysis on it, okay? That's showing, not just telling something's good, okay? You're showing us how it's a good idea and how you'll use it in your future classroom, okay? Then when you're writing, and this was something that I learned as I went along, especially because my undergrad was in English language arts, just finding your voice when you write and what you quote unquote sound like. Yeah, elevator speech is not something that we're not trying to impress anyone. We definitely want when you write for it to sound like you. So work on like finding your voice of how you want to write and the methods of writing that you want to use. So definitely those two things are something that it takes time and it takes a little bit of work to do. Yeah, so if you have any questions or you just need a little bit further information, there are videos all over the place. You can just Google show, don't tell in professional writing. Also, like, that's my oven, sorry. Talking about finding your voice in professional writing. There are all kinds of videos and articles and things like that you can read up on. So I hope you're well.
Thanks, Val. So it's really important that you guys work on finding your own voice, writing as you would write. You don't need to use elevator speech to me. You don't need to speak in professional language. I want to know how you really feel about something and how you're going to use it in your classroom, because that's the practice that's going to make you a better teacher, thinking about putting things into practice. Okay, with that being said, mini lessons are due tomorrow. Don't freak out. Do your best. Submit them. We'll go through them. This is how we learn. Remember, I'm not grading these with a rubric. You guys are going to get the points if you turn your things in on time. I am using these as an exercise in thinking, in analysis, in teaching. So I don't feel like with us being virtual, it's fair for me to critique these lessons without giving you any training. So consider these the training. You guys are doing great. Thank you all so much for your questions. I'll talk to you later. God bless.